is Martin Fletcher in Tel Aviv. Ed Rabel, we'll begin with you.
Good evening, Tom. Well, Syria is in great shape tonight because its leadership was on the winning side in the Gulf War, and if any Arab leader has the confidence to break the ice with Israel, then it is Syria's President Hafez al-Assad.
Long an international outcast for his alleged sponsorship of terrorism, Assad now is credited with restraining terrorism against Western targets during the war. By committing 20,000 Syrian troops to the coalition, Assad assured Syria millions of petrodollars for development back home. And thousands more Syrian troops will be on the front lines of any pan-Arab security force just now being formed in the Gulf. Assad didn't team up with the Allies just to get back at his old enemy Saddam Hussein. The top reason, analysts say, is the Soviet Union, in decline, could no longer be relied on for its generous economic and military aid.
Assad probably had no choice, and that this was his way of saving Syria, really, to line up with the rest of the international community. And as we see, those countries that didn't do that are devastated.
Now Syria is situated better than ever to regain the Golan Heights occupied by Israel in 1967. Removing this welcome to Israel sign Israeli soldiers erected at a checkpoint in no man's land would delight the Syrians. But is Syria ready to sign a separate peace agreement to get the Golan Heights? President Assad finally did embrace Egypt's President Mubarak, even though Egypt was a pariah in the Arab world for signing the Camp David peace accords.
Syria has been and will always be the key to any settlement. This has been admitted by friends and foes, as we say.
Tom, of course, the United States is hopeful that Syria will improve relations with Israel. But as one Western diplomat here put it, if you're counting on Syria to make peace with Israel one-on-one, then don't hold your breath.
Thank you, Ed Rabel. NBC's Martin Fletcher now in Tel Aviv. The question is, Martin, how far will Israel go on all of this?
Tom, it's an old Middle Eastern art, how to say yes while meaning no. Israel and Syria both talk about peace talks, but the question is, do they mean it? Israeli tank maneuvers on the disputed Golan Heights give some of the answer. One top Israeli leader told NBC News, the real enemy is Syria. We shouldn't be preparing for peace, but for war. Nevertheless, Israel is prepared to go along with any peace initiative with any Arabs, apart from the PLO. And Prime Minister Shamir, usually described as right-wing, looks positively moderate when defending the idea of peace talks against the far-right members of his cabinet who don't see the rush.
There's every good reason now to postpone dealing with this topic until the results of what happened in the Middle East sink in, and perhaps in a year or two the situation will be different.
But Washington is pushing for peace talks now, before the whole region has nuclear arms. And one thing Washington could give Israel, to make Israel feel better about swapping land for peace, is an American security guarantee.
We are on the verge, God forbid, of a nuclear element, a nuclear dimension in this arms race. And the only answer which I can think of, which would both deter an enemy and increase Israel's self-confidence, is a defense pact with the United States.
Shamir says he wants to talk peace to the Palestinians, but not the PLO, and he also wants direct talks with Arab states separately. Now Secretary of State Baker is saying the same thing and hinting that Syria could be the first one. What Shamir most wants is peace while hanging on to all the occupied lands, which means it's only a matter of time before Shamir and Baker clash badly.